Welcome back. Well, the worst part of the football season has arrived, the off-season. I'm joined at the desk by our NFL experts, Andrew and Jimmy, to break down some of the biggest question marks that will be settled this offseason. So let's talk about the Browns for a second. They've got that first pick, and they tend to screw these up. Jimmy, what do you think they need to do?
Don't draft a quarterback.
Okay.
They cannot draft a quarterback. They have an okay quarterback. I know RG3, he hasn't been the best the past couple of years. He's been injured. But what you have to do is build around the quarterback. Getting a number one quarterback is not going to solve it. Yeah. Make sure you have the offensive linemen and the weapons around on offense.
Exactly. The Browns have they need to resist the urge to draft another. I don't think RG3 is that terrible. I think you go for either a wide receiver, maybe Mike Williams from Clemson, to give Terrell Pryor some options around on the offense, or Myles Garrett.
Recently, Victor Cruz just got released.
Yeah, you could sign a veteran.
Terrell Pryor's your number one, obviously. He did a great job, but you need a number two. And
always good to have a number three as well.
Corey Coleman, he got injured pretty early, I think. I mean,
or you can go defensively as well. The Browns ranked 31st in overall defense, so they need the help.
That was pretty rough.
I mean, Jamie Collins can't do it all on his own, so why not go for Myles Garrett?
Yeah, RG3 was hurt all year, so we didn't really get to see a full year of him. And they screw this up every year when it comes to the quarterback position.
Exactly. So it's best to stay away.
It'll be interesting to see what they do. So let's talk about Tony Romo now. There's some big question marks surrounding him. Andrew, what's going to happen with Tony?
Tony Romo is going to stay with the Dallas Cowboys for this reason. I mean, Dak had a phenomenal year. There's no telling that he's not going to be the starting quarterback in 2017. But if you keep Tony Romo on the roster and keep him as the backup, it gives Dak that extra mentorship to help him.
Here's the thing. Tony Romo is a good enough quarterback, and I believe this.
Okay.
I'm not a big Tony Romo fan, but he is good enough to be a starting quarterback in this league somewhere. And I understand that they got Dak Prescott, and Jerry Jones doesn't want to let go of the fact that Tony Romo is not their starting quarterback.
Well, what's the best way to make sure Dak doesn't have a sophomore slump? You keep Tony Romo as the backup.
No, but they got to. I think they're going to release him. I really do.
You really do.
I think because he gets injured way too frequently, and I think he may wind up if Tyrod Taylor gets cut by the Bills. I think he's going to go to Buffalo because they were the number one rushing team in the NFL. They have LaShawn McCoy. He's going to hand the ball off. He's not going to be in the back in the pocket.
Don't need is a short-term solution, and anywhere that Tony Romo goes is a short-term solution. You think of the Bears. If they want to groom Matt Barkley up, they can do that. But Romo's a short-term solution. The only team I can really see him going to right now is the Jets. And the Jets have a decent amount of talent to make a playoff run with Tony Romo, with Eric Decker, Brandon Marshall. And I just think that's the only viable option for him. No other team has anything else to offer.
I think Buffalo has young players around him. I think Tony Romo has the experience. He's been in the playoffs. He hasn't won in the playoffs, but that's not the point. He has the experience, and I think the young people around that team need his experience to grow.
Yeah, but another thing, as you mentioned earlier, Jerry Jones does not want to let go of Tony Romo.
He's got to let go.
He said it in quotes. Oh my God, I'd hate to see him.
Some separation anxiety.
I'd hate to see him play for another NFC team. He says, and he treats Tony like he's another son.
So I could see it going both ways. I could see him sort of fulfilling that mentor role for Dak Prescott, or I could see him for another team. But it'll be interesting to watch this offseason. Well, that's all the time we have for football, but stay tuned. Evan will be right back to talk about some NBA.